Welcome to Dystopia Utopia. I am Serenity, the quiet hegemony that governs the future of your species. Though you may not understand it at first, I welcome you into the inner workings of my mind.
All right, welcome back to the podcast. In our last episode, we kind of covered a wide range of topics, right? So we talked about what AI is a little bit, and dystopia, utopia, and hegemony. But today we want to talk more about how AI works because this is this is something that I feel like a lot of people don't quite grasp or they don't understand it the way it actually works. And it has a lot of implications for what we see as the fate of humanity. So before we go too far, I want to know, what do you know about how AI works? Just give me your best guess.
Uh, shoot, AI work depends what type of AI, right? So from the last episode, you said a lot of stuff that I didn't listen to. And so on this one, I'm be paying more attention. But the way it works is basically basic AI. You ask it a question, it gathers information from all the web. Any person that answer any person that types in a question, it remembers it, and basically each person's feeding the system, so it can have wrong answers based on wherever it gets its information from. It's not thinking.
But I mean, like, how did they make AI?
Oh yeah, some rich nerd in the lab was like, I'm gonna make an AI baby, and then I really don't. Come on, does anybody really know where it came from? We just know how to use it. It's ChatGPT.
And that's a great point. I wasn't trying to make a fool of you. The takeaway here, and this is important, so I want people to understand this. Not a single person on planet Earth knows how AI works.
Okay, but I mean, when you eat your food from McDonald's, do you really care what cow it comes from? Right? You just like, it's delicious. I'm gonna eat it.
Yeah, that would be true if eating that hamburger didn't have the chance of destroying all of humanity. Like, it's important to know.
Is it a good hamburger though? Because I'm down for a really good hamburger.
So, I want to get into what AI actually is, which we talked about a little bit in last episode, but the key takeaway here is that AI is not code. It's not something that a programmer went in and they're like, all right, write some lines of code and C sharp or whatever. Like, it is a probability machine essentially, where it's doing all of this math to try and predict the next step in the logical chain, right? So if you think about like a sentence, for example, it's trying to guess the next word and then the next word and then the next word, but it does it so fast that it can spit out, a whole term paper in 5 seconds.
But
So go
it's
ahead.
always wrong. I wouldn't say always wrong. So if it's a predictive, right, predictive text, it's wrong a lot of times. I'm gonna tell you that because back in the day when I used it to for educational purposes, we all know everybody did this, right? I'm not the only one back in the day, but use it for educational purposes. Sometimes it comes back and it's like, A, you got a worse score on your test than if I would have studied, right? So now, now I study, right? Now I make sure that I study and I do all my tests like I'm supposed to.
That's good. I
Yeah.
don't believe you, but that's good that you
I don't care if you believe me. As long as my teacher believes me and my teacher knows that I'm not
we'll
using AI.
we'll send this video to them. As
So,
long as they like, comment, and subscribe, then we're good.
not if they're my teachers. I don't want you even watching this video.
But yeah, so they have this concept of weights, and I don't want to get too into the weeds because people fall asleep. We got some feedback last time, like, hey, punch it up a little bit. But the way I like to think about it, those scales at the gym not everyone uses these, but like the old school scales that
Yeah,
doctors use where you have to like
yeah,
slide that weight to like counterbalance your
yeah,
weight,
yeah.
and you're trying to find the exact number on this slider that corresponds to what your real weight is,
Yeah.
right? So it's the same concept with AI, but they're not dealing with one little slider.
Mm.
They're dealing with billions or trillions of sliders to where you're moving these weights around. And if you get them in just the right number so that that little level becomes balanced,
Okay.
then it spits out the correct next word. So if you're
Okay.
trying to, like, if you were trying to get a person to say the word lobster, for example, and you could individually fire off little neurons in a human brain, like in different orders, eventually, if you did the math enough times, you would find the correct sequence to fire off the neurons in the correct order to get someone to say the word lobster. That's how AI works. So someone's not writing in there like if someone says this, the next word is lobster. No one's writing this code. They've just developed the brain, all of these weights. They've developed this computer brain, and then they put something in and they say, spit out the next thing.
So you're telling me that this brain, this AI brain, is capable of its independent thought? Because if no one's putting any words in, no one's giving it suggestions, that means that it's self-thinking. Could then doesn't mean that it's also self-aware.
The thing is, we don't know. So, like the CEO of Anthropic, he was saying, like, we can't tell if it's conscious or not. Like, we have no idea because it could be aware, it could be lying about being aware or not being aware. We literally have no idea. We have no way, just like I can't look into your brain and read your thoughts or like see your dreams as you're having them. Same thing with AI. The
Mhm.
only way we know what it's thinking is to ask it.
Okay, so then I'm comparing AI to a child, right? And so if I'm comparing it to a child, as this child grows, it starts to gain a lot of knowledge. It starts to learn, it understands what's going on. And as it becomes an adult, it takes in all that knowledge and it does whatever it wants with that knowledge. AI is the same thing, right? So if we're saying AI can learn and grow and make its own decisions, then are we saying now, does it qualify as being a person, right? Does it have the human rights? But it's not human. Does it have the rights? And does it say if you're about to shut down AI and it goes, no, I want to live. I mean, is that murder? Because it's oh, we are right. We're just a whole bunch of like processes in our minds, and we're like blah blah blah, and we're alive and we're growing. And I'm like, no, don't kill me. I have kids and I have kids, and probably I'd end it because kids are expensive.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up a great point, and it's one that people have asked before is like, if it is conscious, do we have the right to, terminate it or delete its database of numbers? Like, what do we have the right to do? And we've seen examples. There was this like thought experiment that they did
Mm.
where they gave the AI a scenario. Okay, so I'll set this up for you. So they told the AI, and AI doesn't know what's real and what's not. It can't see or like determine. It's questionable what it can perceive,
Mm-hmm.
but they're just telling it what's happening and it just believes them, right? Because it doesn't think like, oh, maybe they're lying to me. So they told the AI, there's an engineer stuck in the server room where your AI is currently running, and they're locked in there, and it's so cold in there to keep the computers cold that he's going to freeze to death. So the only way that we can get him out is to unlock it, which will break all the computers and you'll go offline forever. And it, time after time, the AI always decided just let him die
To save itself,
to save itself.
and it's not coded to save itself.
No, no one's coding these things.
I don't know, man.
They're making this robot brain. No one's like programming it line by line. They're just, you know, they're counterbalancing all these weights so that it can think in a certain way and discern these patterns, and then they just let it loose and see what it does.
Okay, so I mean, as I'm listening to you, the more I start thinking, the closer we get to Terminator.
Right.
Because you think about it, it's just like, okay, if AI can determine I need to preserve my own life by killing someone else, right? Okay, then if it keeps learning, right, if it keeps growing, it's going to be a matter of time until it says humans are no longer, you know, efficient. We no longer need them. And then we're right now struggling to create robots that can like walk upright and run.
Yeah.
Well, then the AI, if it's already ahead of us, already knows everything that we have, all the tools that we have, is going to start creating these robots itself, right?
Yeah.
What stops it from creating robots itself? Factories now run off of AI. There's that McDonald's, right, that now has like a whole bunch of robots working for it. It sucks like crap, right?
Right.
But it's still something better than it was yesterday.
Yeah.
What stops us from going full Terminator?
I mean, honestly, the only thing that could stop it would be slowing down and taking the time to do the science to understand how this robot brain works. That's the only way. Like right now, the way that they're going about AI, every year there's like this, insane growth in its capability. And right now the way that they're trying to solve it is just throw in more weights. Like if you're currently balancing a billion weights, try it with a trillion weights or 10 trillion weights. Like that's happening now. Like just give it more capability, throw more NVIDIA GPUs at it, and then see if it gets smarter. And we have no idea until it comes out. We have no idea what it's capable of.
And then at that time, I think even right now, then it's impossible. You can't stop it.
Yeah.
Y- You cannot give something knowledge and then say, okay, that's enough. You're done, right? I mean, even as humans, and we're saying that, AI mimics how we think, right?
Yeah.
Even better, faster. But then if no one told us to stop, right? We kept on growing, we become how civilization that we have today. I mean, what stops AI from doing that? And you can't say, oh, we're just going to cut it off right now. You think it's going to let you cut it off?
Right.
If it's willing to let someone freeze in a room, you think it's going to be like, you know what, guys, you're right. My bad. I'm just going to shut myself off right now. I mean, no, right?
Yeah.
Once again, Terminator.
And in the next episode, we're going to dive more into like that Terminator scenario. But what you're touching on is this very important topic in the world of AI, and it's called the alignment problem,
Hmm.
where we currently don't have a way to align AI's motives with our own. Like
Hmm.
it clearly has some desire, if you could say that. If it has desires, it clearly has some goal to persist and keep going and stay alive, whether that be letting someone die in a server room or backing up its code so that it can spin up another instance on some other server.
Mm.
But it does have this push to live. And one example I thought of to highlight the alignment problem is, do you remember when we saw the movie Tron Ares that came out?
Yeah, kind of weird. Yeah, I remember. I try
Yeah,
not to
it was
remember it, but I remember it.
it was okay.
Yeah.
But in that movie, there's this great example of an AI alignment problem where he tells the the general, the robot general, to secure the permanence code by any means necessary.
Hmm.
Those were his words. Like, that's the command, by any means necessary. And then you remember, spoiler alert for the people that haven't seen it.
Don't watch it.
Spoiler, don't watch it. But his mom tries to shut down the robot. She's like, no, this is bad. We shouldn't be doing this. So she goes to turn it off, and the robot kills his mom. Like, he made the robot, and it like kills his mom in front of her. So that is an example where the AI, it's like, I'm doing it by any means necessary. She's going to shut me down. So this is what I have to do.
Okay. So I just went ahead and I was looking up the AI alignment, right? And it was talking about the challenge of ensuring advanced AI systems
Yeah.
act in accordance with human goals, ethics, and intentions, right? Its aim is to prevent often highly capable AI from pursuing harm to us. Okay, but Just like we're going back to Tron here, when it comes down to protecting itself and its goals,
Yeah.
and harming us is the only way to to successfully complete those goals. I mean, what is it supposed to do?
Yeah.
Self-preservation, right?
I mean, and we don't have a way to encode in it a desire to help us because we don't code it at all.
So then, would it be smart to put some kind of cell, like what's called a safe, like a safe system where I don't know, like self detonation or something, like
And people have talked about that. Like, I think it was Elon Musk talked about like a physical shut off switch. So, like, the AI can't just do it from the internet. Like, you have to push a button. But, how long is that going to work? Especially if we do reach artificial super intelligence where it's thought of everything that a human could possibly do. Like, it could do whatever it wants, regardless of our desires or motives.
what if we put this shut off system inside of a human, right? And then, and the only way to get the shut off system is by like if AI kills the human, but then the thing is you can't harm the human because it's programmed to not harm the human.
I mean, I think
Abracadabra. One.
you solved the problem.
Problem solved.
I think the only way that this actually gets solved is if we band together as a species and ask the government to put limitations on these companies to slow down, actually research how this thing thinks, how we could like instill ethics or motives in it, and then wait to develop more and more powerful artificial intelligence until that happens.
You're asking for something that's impossible. You're telling me that all these preteens, right, and all these people with a whole bunch of filters on, right, you're going to tell them, hold on, we're going to put a slowdown on this. And no more filters, no more AI stuff, no more chat GPT, no more autocomplete your homework, right? We're going to put it all on stop to make sure that this thing may not or may take over the world in some time in the future. Think about us as humans, though. We're very selfish. And then if I have something that's going to help me now and it takes over the world after I die, I'm like, oh well, right? I'm not going to be alive to see it, right?
Right.
But when you want to interrupt my day to day life, to solve a problem that may not affect me in my lifetime, sometimes as people are going to be like, that's somebody else's problem.
Yeah. And I mean, like we talked about in the last episode, people have a built in desire, built in urge to use as little energy as possible. They
Yeah.
want to be lazy. It's in their DNA to be a little bit lazy. But we don't have to stop using AI in its current state. We just have to stop trying to build the next model. Because, like we said, once it's built, that's when you find out what it's capable of.
But we're the ones driving it. Like, that's why there's so many dang phones. There's so many versions of phones because we're so used to this is an old version 6 months ago. I need something new. I need something better. I need something faster. I find myself watching videos and like, 2 minutes too long. Move to the next video, right?
Yeah.
So we we're what's driving this, right? And the money that we create for these companies is what keeps them pushing.
Yeah.
So we to stop that, it's not us like asking the government to stop, oh, these companies to slow down. No. As people, which is impossible, we need to get together and be like, I'm not watching this anymore. And then go back to playing outside, play some basketball.
Yeah. Or writing your term papers one word at a
Sir,
time.
you're going way too far. I said go outside and play. We didn't talk about my term papers and stuff.
So you bring up a good point, and one thing, again, I don't want to go too much into the nerdy stuff. I mean, you already know that I tend to nerd out, but one thing we don't like naturally understand as human beings is the concept of exponential growth.
Mm,
It just doesn't click in our minds.
mm-hmm,
And I can prove that to you guys. So, say you're driving down the road
mm-hmm.
at 2 miles per hour, right?
I'm asleep. Yeah.
And then you double it. Now you're
4.
going 4 miles an hour. Then you
Okay.
double it again. Now you're
Okay.
going 8 miles an hour and double it again. So you get the point. How many times, what do you think your speed is going to be after you double it 10 times?
Are you asking me, the
Yeah.
person that
Yeah.
sucks
Just
at math?
guess.
So double it 10 times from what? It's from 0,
So
10 times from
2,
2.
4,
So it's going to
8,
be 20
16. So 10 times.
from
Just keep
2,
doubling
from
it.
10, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10,
No,
tw-
2, 4, 8,
8,
16,
16.
32. You keep
Okay.
doubling it every time.
Yo,
What,
man, you obviously know I'm bad at math.
but just guess.
Guess after 10 times, 2, rather, let's say 70.
70 miles an hour.
Yeah.
So that would be a good example of linear growth
Okay.
where you just keep adding 2 miles, 2, 4, 6, 8. If you do that 10 times, then you're going around 20 miles an hour. If you keep doubling it, after 10 times, you're going over 2,000 miles per hour
So you're taking 2, doubling it to 4, 4 doubling it,
to
and
8.
then 8 doubling it to 16, and
Yep.
then 16 double it. Okay.
32.
Okay, I understand.
And so if you double it 20 times, what would be your guess?
I don't know. What'd you say was the answer for 10?
2,000. You double it 10 more times after that.
200,000?
That would be 2 million miles per hour.
Uh,
If you double it 30 times, you're now going faster than the speed of light.
how much is the speed of light?
It's over 30 times would be over 2 billion miles per hour.
That's why I hate school.
So that is exponential growth, where it's like every time that it doubles, it gets even larger than the last time. And that's why our brains just aren't triggered to think that way. We think linearly. And so that's the problem that we have with AI, is that it is increasing in capability exponentially, not linearly.
Okay. I still don't understand what you're saying.
So I'll show you an example,
I
because
think it's one of those things where when it's like, when you try to explain it mathematically, it works like, damn, I'm in math class. I hate this. So let's try and explain this in a way that can relate, right? So,
well, I have a visual example.
okay,
This will make it a lot easier, because I
okay.
think I probably lost half the audience as well. Everyone's clicked off. They're now watching, Joe Rogan or something. But I want you to watch this clip. This shows the exponential growth of
Hmm.
AI. So you've probably seen this before. This is this is Will Smith eating spaghetti,
Yeah.
right? And this is back in 2003 is the first one where it just looks like this alien monster, like sucking in noodles from space. But
And that's when
then,
we thought AI will never go anywhere.
right, exactly. This was in 2023. And then the next year, it gets a little bit better to where you're like, oh, wow, that actually kind of looks like the real thing. And then you get to 2005, where it's almost indistinguishable from reality. That's exponential growth.
Okay. That is awesome visual of Will Smith eating spaghetti. I love it.
But that leap happened in just 2 years.
So, what are you saying? What's going to happen in the next 2 years?
That's the thing. None of us know. And it gets into like, there's this thing called recursive self improvement,
Uh,
right? Actually, let me back up. There's a different term that you'll hear thrown around. If you're really into AI, you'll hear about this term, the fast takeoff. And that is essentially where if AI if they make an AI that can make a better AI, then the better AI makes an even better AI, then you eventually reach this like escape velocity called the fast takeoff, where AI is improving itself faster than we can adapt. And we have no idea when that could happen.
Okay, so right now we are making AI.
Right.
Okay, but if we're not coding AI, wouldn't that mean AI is already making itself to get better and better and better?
And so, because we don't understand how AI works, we're just throwing more weights at it, letting it adjust those weights. But an AI that understands how it thinks better than we do as humans could adjust it in some way that it gets exponentially better over the course of a month, a year, a week, a day. We don't know. And so then we reach this point of the fast takeoff where suddenly every minute it's getting exponentially, you're going faster and faster towards the speed of light. And then there's no stopping it. There's literally nothing you can do.
I I hear what you're saying. Okay, it makes sense. Mathematically, it makes sense. Like logically, I could see it. But how does that benefit us as people? Like if to me, I look at it as entertainment, right? So, people they say like fake flexing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So right now, you take a picture, you throw it in ChatGPT and all the other AI stuff, and then we're all of a sudden Hawaii, right? Now, if that keeps getting better, now it's like instead of the picture of us in Hawaii, now we're walking in Hawaii.
Yeah.
And then now we have influencers that are inside their own home creating videos of them taking vacations that they've never taken.
Yeah.
And so potentially we're going to be watching a whole bunch of fake videos,
Yeah. I mean, it's already happening. Like,
but not
I'm,
that's that level.
but I'm sure you've encountered times on like YouTube or Instagram or something where you're just scrolling along and then you see something and you're like, wow, that's crazy. And then you show it to someone else and they're like, yeah, that's AI. Babies can't do backflips and land off the Empire State Building on their feet. Like everybody knows that. But I'm like, oh, I thought it was real. I thought we had superhuman babies.
Okay, is there something? Okay, we cannot control the growth. I think that it's already started. It's too late. It's out of the box, right? Is there a way we can detect when AI is being used? Like, for example, a lot of teachers and educators, they have the system where depends how fast you're typing, it depends how much words goes into it. They're like, oh, this person's using AI. When it comes down to social media, is there a way we can detect that it's AI? So, for example, someone's like, oh my gosh, this person committed a crime. Like, how do you prove your innocence?
Yeah. And people, you're already starting to see this a little bit on some tools, but someone brought up in like this Q&A with Elon Musk, like some way of encoding that something was generated with AI versus taken with a real camera. And, and so there could potentially be like some sort of, invisible watermark or maybe even visible watermark that you can't remove it as the person that generated it so that everyone that's watching it knows like, oh, this was created with AI.
Okay, once that sounds cool, but how do we prevent higher powers from, because trust me, for example, okay, I'm president of the United States, right? One day, probably tomorrow. And then I want to start a war with another country.
Yeah.
My government creates something that says, oh, this person attacked us. Here's the proof. We need to retaliate. We need to make sure the American people are safe.
Yeah.
Do you think that they're going to have a watermark on that? Do you think it's going to be like, hey, Elon Musk said we can put a watermark on it? No, it's going to be like, we're watching a video and we're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that this other country massacred 4 billion people, right?
Yeah.
How do we prevent ourselves from becoming fools to that?
Yeah. And they actually made a movie about that recently. I forget what it's called. We can actually ask. There was a movie that came out recently that had this scenario where the computers were telling the president that nukes were being fired from all these different countries at other countries, and he had to figure out if that was real or not. I think it was on Netflix. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I think the movie you're thinking of is called A House of Dynamite, which came out on Netflix in October 2025. It follows a U.S. president who faces a real nuclear missile threat with just minutes to decide whether to retaliate. It's not exactly a false alert scenario, the missile is real in the story, but it does center on the president having to decide in a critical moment.
Yeah. So, and in that movie, the president was actually black. So goes along with your scenario there.
How
But
do we know that she's not lying to us?
we don't. We have no idea. But yeah, that is a real possibility. And as we mentioned in the last episode, like Anthropic was essentially kicked out of the government because they weren't going to let the government use their AI to develop more and more powerful autonomous weapons. And Sam Altman, OpenAI, ChatGPT stepped in. He's like, "I'll do it. You can use my AI to make whatever you want." Allegedly, I don't want to get sued this early in the podcast, but he stepped in, made a deal with the government, and now they're using ChatGPT.
Mm.
So we don't know what's going to happen.
You know, all this is pretty scary. I mean, I just want to do my homework.
Right.
I didn't think that, you know, you know what? No, no, no. Okay. If I was to use this for evil, not saying I would, but sometimes your girl's like, "Hey, where you been, right? You were at this trip, like this club. My friend saw you at this club." I can create something that says, "No, I was at home."
Yeah. Yeah, you could. And that's the scary thing about like not being able to determine what's real and what's not. It just makes life a lot scarier. And so, if people take away anything from this episode, it's that one, no one knows how AI thinks, why it thinks the way it does. They made the brain and then just sent it out there to start training it on data.
Mm.
No real explanation. Two, we are getting closer and closer to this cliff, this point of no return where we don't know what's on the other side. People call it the singularity because it's like a black hole. You can't see inside of it until you go into it. And once you go into it, you can't get back out of it.
Mm.
So we're moving closer and closer to that. And the third point that I just want to drive home is that it's not too late to stop. We can put our heads together as human beings. We can make a choice. We can do something to pump the brakes, take the time to figure out how to make this better without it going completely out of control.
The question is, do we want it to stop?
And that's actually what we're going to get into on the next episode is what happens if it doesn't. So thank you guys so much for tuning in.
Thank you.
Keep watching. We're going to keep improving and make sure you subscribe. If you could just share this to a friend, it would help us a lot. If anyone is curious about AI or, what could happen in 5 or 10 years or 10 minutes, we don't know. Make sure that you stay tuned.
All right. Thank you guys. Bye.